Welcome out to the show, guys. This is Studio 321. This is your podcast host, Eddie B, coming at you from the 321. So we got a ton of stuff tonight to talk about, guys. God, the news is moving 100 miles an hour. I know it's hard to keep up. I can barely keep up, and I follow it. So just, let's get into some of this stuff. So anyways, I got Conor McGregor news. I'm sure some of you heard about that. It's hilarious. We got some stuff on the JFK files, the Tesla attacks, and the bullying that's going on with all that stuff, and then the dismantling of the Department of Education and how that's driving the liberals wild. So anyways, guys, we're going to get into that. Please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I'm also on Rumble. If you hit to subscribe, it's free, but it really helps my channel. All the videos will pop up on your feed. And also, if you're over on Rumble, check me out over there at Studio 321. Getting bigger every day, and I'm enjoying it. So let's get into it. And look, I'm going to do a bunch of stuff other than politics. I try not to do politics all the time, but the problem is right now, there's so much. I feel like if I don't put it out, that people are missing stuff. So, it's it's been a lot of politics lately. But, as this kind of cools down in the political season, I'm going to get some other videos out. I got a bunch of cool stuff I'm working on. And, a lot of people that know me know I work in the club business, the bar business. I got a bunch of cool stuff I'm going to do on that. But I just haven't been able to get it out yet because of we're getting just blasted every day with political news. And I feel like I got to get that out. But anyways, so look, I was right again. I'm going to say it right now. There's a couple things that I put out way ahead of time, just on a hunch. And I was right. Number one. Conor McGregor has announced that he's going to run for president of Ireland. Now, and if you don't know, that's the fighter Conor McGregor. So, sounds crazy, right? But think about this. And I said this the other day on a podcast. I don't think Conor McGregor is necessarily the perfect guy to do that job. To be honest, I like him. He's a great fighter. He's a great showman. He's kind of got that WWF style. But I don't think he's really a president type of guy, but also he might get elected over there because Ireland is having the same problems that we're having in America with immigration. Now, if you don't know, Ireland is basically an island. It's got about 5 million people, and last year they let in 150,000 immigrants. And that's a lot for a place with 5 million people. You know what I'm saying? That's a high percentage. So basically, it's done to them the exact same thing it's done to us. It's strained their school systems. It's strained their social systems. They can't keep up. It starts messing with their culture. Because the Irish, they're very nationalistic on their culture. So now you've got all these immigrants coming in there that are not Irish, and it's causing some problems. And whether you're for or against that, that's what's happening. So, I said this the other day. Conor McGregor, he's not an academic, that's for sure. And he's got that wild kind of Trump streak in him. I don't know if he's really sharp enough for politics, to be honest. I like the guy, but he's a doer, man. He's a doer, and I think he might get elected. You watch and see. That's going to be pretty wild. I think the election is later on this year. But I'm going to be watching that close. That's going to be very, very interesting because I'm telling you, over there, they're sick of the academic types running things and running it all into the ground and always talking about what they're going to do and not doing anything. And he is a breath of fresh air. Now, again, that's taking a leap, but you watch that election. That's going to be a funny one. But anyways, so also on the JFK files. Now, look, there's years and years and years and years of conspiracy theory and history on all this, right? God, there's so much out there. And I've studied this for some time, off and on through the years, reading articles and this and that. Now, I also saw an interview from a guy that was in prison who I believe he died now, but he claimed to be part of the team that was set up to do the hit on Kennedy. Now, whether he was lying or not, I don't know. To be honest with you, he seemed very convincing to me, but that's whatever. But I said then, I recently said it, and now I think it's basically been proven true. I said, look, and this is what I said the last time we did it on podcast. I said, look, it's not a situation where, let's say one of our three-letter agencies wants Kennedy gone, which they did, right? Because, again, if you don't know the history, number one, the Bay of Pigs with Cuba got messed up because Kennedy wouldn't send in troops to back up the coup. That's number one. A lot of people hated him for that. Number two, he did not want Vietnam to go forward, okay? I believe it was 1962. We were in the very, very early stages of the war. It really wasn't even officially war yet, but we had a lot of troops over there, like being liaison and like three-letter agency people over there in Vietnam trying to find out what's going on. So there was a lot of people, a lot of military over there already, but the war hadn't started. Kennedy made it very clear he was not having a war over there. Our idea was that we were going to stomp out communism because communism was trying to take over Vietnam. It basically controlled half and it wanted the other half. We were fighting against that, and Kennedy didn't want it. And Kennedy signed I don't know exactly the name of the document, but he signed a document to get all our troops out of Vietnam. And within a month of signing that document, he was killed. Okay? So the rumor has always been that was the reason why he was killed. Our three-letter agencies wanted that war. The anti-communists wanted that war. And look, I don't think anybody was really pro-communist at the time, but there's people that were anti-war. So, and Kennedy was one of them. He just didn't want to be involved in the war. And so that's the reason a lot of people say he was killed. So, but going forward to his murder, okay? I've been saying this for a long time. You don't, it's not like when intel agencies want to get rid of somebody or do an assassination, it's not like they send in one of their own guys, right? Like some guy that's hired by that agency that works for that agency. That's not the way that it works, okay? Their business is intel. And a lot of their business of intel is intel and opposition. In other words, they know who the enemies of this particular person was. They knew who the enemies of Kennedy were. People who came along who they had run across in the past that might have said disparaging things about Kennedy and stuff like that. So, in other words, it's not like you have to hire one of these people to do that job. All you have to do is not get in their way, if you understand what I'm saying. Now, I also believe that the thing that happened in Pennsylvania with the Crooks guy and Trump, I honestly believe that's the same exact scenario. Okay? They didn't hire, and I'll get back to Kennedy in a minute, but nobody hired that kid to go do what he did. But I believe that they knew who he was, knew what he was going to try to do, and they just didn't get in his way. And see, that's how these agencies operate. They don't have to hire somebody or bring one of their own because that's too much of a trail, right? You can't do that. Like you're going to get caught that way. But all you got to do is step out of the way and act like you didn't see what happened or that you made a mistake, and then now somebody just came in and got through your defenses, your security, and then they did what they did, right? It's the play dumb thing. Oh, we didn't know he was going to do it. We didn't have anybody on the ground over by the roof. We didn't have this. We didn't have that. None of it makes any sense. Well, it was kind of the same thing in the Kennedy assassination. I said that a while back, and it turns out to be right. The CIA had been watching Lee Harvey Oswald for 4 years before this, okay? Now, he had actually done direct work for the three-letter agencies. He had a handler, which was somebody in the agency, what they call a handler, that was his contact that dealt with him for certain things. He had been to Russia a couple times. I don't know if he was spying for them or spying for us or whatever it was, but he wasn't a direct employee of the three-letter agencies. But you see what I'm saying? They knew what his intentions were, and they just cleared the path, okay? Made sure somebody wasn't in this particular place to stop him at this particular time. And I think the same thing is I think that's exactly what happened in Pennsylvania with Trump. There's no way anybody makes that many mistakes and is that dumb. Because not to relitigate the whole thing, because it's in the past, but I watched that whole thing live. I was watching the rally. And when that happened, the first thing I said, I was sitting next to a friend of mine, I said, my God, I said, what did this dude get a shot from like 800 yards out? Because I know that they set him a long distance perimeter for these rallies, right? Like you can't get close to anything. I'm thinking this guy's a mastermind shot, taking a shot from 800 to 1,000 yards, and he just barely missed. Well, it turns out it was 145 yards away, and I'm like, and then when you hear that, I'm like, nah, man, that's actually impossible. Okay, there's no way that was a mistake. Now, like I said, they might not have set it up or hired somebody to do it, but they knew who was going to do it and when he was going to try to do it, and they just cleared the path. And that's what you do. And then when it if he gets killed, then you just play dumb. You act like you made a mistake. You fire some low-level person or somebody who was getting ready to retire. You fire them. Then it all goes back to normal. That's what happens, okay? So those two things, I was 100% right on. You can actually go back and look at my former podcast, and you'll see. I predicted the Conor McGregor thing. He just announced yesterday, but I predicted that way before. And just because, I've been watching what's going on over there, and I know Conor's a big pro-Irish guy, and I was thinking to myself, man, he's getting awful political lately. And sure enough, that was his plan. So anyways, so let's go to the Tesla attacks and the bullying on these people, okay? Tell me the logic in all of this, okay? 90% of the people all around the country who were buying Teslas were Democrats. Okay, they're just because they were first on the green thing, let's save the earth, get rid of gasoline cars, all that stuff. Now, I have friends that have Teslas that are conservatives. They didn't really do it just for that, for the green stuff, but they just like the car, right? So probably 90 to 95% of all the people that were buying Teslas were Democrats for the last couple years. So where's the logic in this now that the table turns and you hate Elon Musk all of a sudden, that you're vandalizing and you're harassing other Democrats, right? That's your own people. So 2 weeks ago, you're like best friends, neighbors, you're green earth and doing all your crazy stuff. And now you're attacking the same person, and they bought a Tesla to try to save the planet. So, I mean, it's boggling my mind. I just don't understand this sickness that's going around. Okay. You're picking on your own side. You really are, and here's another thing, man, this kind of stuff makes me mad. What kind of man would get intimidated into selling his car because people are harassing him about it? Like, that's not a man, that's a boy, okay? Like, if I spend my hard-earned money on a car or a truck, I don't care what you say to me. You better get away from my truck. And don't come talking to me about what you're going to do or I need to do this. We're going to have a problem. Somebody's going to get hurt. You know what I mean? Like, don't come to me like that. And that's my property. You don't touch it. You better stay away from me and my property. That's my hard-earned money. I'm not selling it because somebody says I should, and I'm not selling it because I feel intimidated. If you do that as a man, then you're a boy, plain and simple. Now, women, look, I don't know. 50% of women, no, to be honest, 50% of women will do whatever you tell them. I'm just going to be honest. They get scared about everything, and I understand, whatever. So I don't hold it against them. But that other 50% of women, I know who y'all are. Y'all are sassy. Y'all ain't giving in to none of that. You know what I mean? Just, you can't. That's the kind of stuff you can't give into. And look, I don't care. I don't care if you hate Elon Musk or not. If you're driving a Tesla around, don't let nobody pick on you about your car, man. That's your money sitting there. You spent it. You earned it. Don't let them touch it. Don't let them trash it. Call the cops. Do whatever you got to do. But you just can't let this go on, man. You know. And another thing. Yeah, there's been some protests down in the South about that where I live, but I don't see all this vandalizing going on down here. I don't see it. Why is it always in these northern states? Why is that? Are the people that weak that they can't stand up for themselves? Is that what it is? I've always wondered. I don't understand. And again, I talked about this on another podcast. Why is all the protesting always up north? You know, the Northerners are always talking about the dirty South and how everything down here is so bad and we're all a bunch of racist rednecks. But guess what? I'm gonna give you a news flash. I live in the South. Everybody down here gets along. All the races, we work together. Nobody cares about what race anybody else is. There ain't no KKK rallies down here. You got no neo-Nazis walking in the streets like they had just had up in Ohio. You don't see that down here. Okay? I don't know what's going on up north. Maybe I have to go up there and check it out myself. I don't understand what kind of culture is causing this stuff. But I'm going to tell you right now, down here, that stuff ain't happening. And also, you're not going to go vandalizing people's stuff down here like that. If you do, you're going to get hurt. I'm telling you, you're going to get hurt. Like, you don't do that down here. But you know what? It's a mutual respect, too. Like, leave people alone. Yeah, you don't got to like what they like. I got friends that I don't like what they like. You know what I mean? I got friends that disagree with me politically. I got all kinds of friends that are on different scopes, and it don't matter. You know what I mean? We're cool. I'm not going to go mess with their stuff. They're not going to mess with my stuff. But yeah, you know, I just wanted to bring that up because, man, there's people they're going absolutely nuts. And it's going to come to a head. Some people are going to start dying. I know it. You can see it coming. You know, it builds and builds and builds and builds, you know, and there's just, I don't know where that's going to go. I hope it calms down soon. Again, Tesla owner, you can hate Elon Musk. Tesla owners, come on, man. They just bought a car. Leave them alone. You know what I'm saying? That's foolish. It's childish. And the politicians getting on board with that just shows how childish they are. They look really stupid. I don't know. Even if I'm a Tesla owner politician, I'd just look right in the camera and go, look, I don't know. I don't agree with Elon Musk. I drive a Tesla. I'm not getting rid of it. You know, it's a good car, but I'm going to fight him. I'm going to fight him in politics. That's the right answer from a grown-up. Not, I'm going to sell my car because I can't look at it every time I get in and I think of Elon. Like, you're a bitch. That's what you are. You're a baby. So, anyways, now I'm going to get to the last one, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about this the whole trigger stuff that's going on. So, the Department of Education, you know, Trump signed an executive order yesterday to start dismantling that. Now, some people say that's unconstitutional, but the Department of Education was created, okay, with an executive order back in the 70s by Jimmy Carter. So I don't know if it is unconstitutional to dismantle it by executive order, but it doesn't matter. He's going to downscale it to the point where it's going to be irrelevant. That's the point, right? Now everybody's crying about that, and I knew when he started doing that it was going to be absolutely bonkers. Because when you dismantle something like that, now you're really getting into the activist class, like the teachers, you know, all their supporters and stuff. And here's the thing. All you got to do is look at the numbers, be realistic about it. It's done nothing for the country. It really hasn't. It hasn't improved any kind of scores for children. All it did was it was formed to oversee education on a national scale throughout the country. So there was like one standard for the whole country, right? So each individual state would have a standard to go by. So that's what the Department of Education was initially, formed for. But like everything else in government, it turns into a bloated mess that doesn't get anything done, okay? And it just eats up a large portion of our tax money. And the way you know it didn't get anything done is because really since the Department of Education was formed, you can look on a graph and it goes down every year. It's just down, down, down. You know, what are we, 37th in the world in education? And we spend the most per pupil in the world. Okay? We spend a ton of money per kid and we don't get any return for it. So Trump is right. You got to erase all that. You start over. That doesn't fire teachers, okay? All it does, it gets rid of all the overseers, we'll call them, who do nothing. Those people get paid a lot of money and they actually aren't doing anything. And again, look at the numbers. The numbers will tell you they don't do anything because education hasn't improved. It's gotten worse. Okay? Send it back to the states. Let the states each be responsible for it, for education. And when each individual state has bad numbers, you can look into that state and go, why is this state having bad numbers? And then at that point, you make corrections to fix whatever the problem is. And also, you also have good states that you can take example from to fix the bad states. What are they doing that these guys aren't doing? How can we fix this problem? You see what I'm saying? So, it's got to be done that way. It's getting rid of a lot of waste. And then the last thing, okay? Why is the entire left so triggered all the time? Well, look, I'm a Donald Trump fan. Most people know that. Donald Trump could put on a master class on how to trigger the left. And I'm going to tell you this right now. He does it on purpose. Okay? He does it on purpose. He keeps them in a frenzy because they act crazy. And when they act crazy, everybody looks at that and goes, man, I don't support that. Now, it's a brutal way to conduct politics. But, politics is a brutal business. That's a fact. But I know that's what he does. I mean, watch. I'm going to give you an example. Saying Canada's going to be the 51st state. That's never going to really happen. But he triggers the left immediately because then they go, oh, he's going to attack Canada, right? Which is never going to happen, right? Him saying he's going to run in 2028. They've put that out recently. You've heard some of that. People talking about it. So they go into this frenzy. Oh, he's a dictator. But he's agitating them to the point where they are out doing stupid stuff. They're tearing stuff up, burning stuff down, burning American flags, doing all this nutty stuff. And that normal people look at it and they go, man, I don't want anything to do with that. I don't support that, so I can't support that side. That's Trump's way of psychological warfare. I know it. I watch what he does. He keeps them agitated at all times so that they just act stupid. Because you know how it is. We watch it on TV and it's embarrassing to see how these people act. Even the politicians on the Democrat side they're not like they used to be. They used to be very reserved, very businesslike. Now they all got purple hair. Some of them are bald-headed. They wear those big kooky glasses like they're screaming and hollering all the time. They look like maniacs. And that's the way Trump wants it because when he keeps them like that, they can't do business. And in the end, if you can't do business, you're not going to win the presidency. That's a fact. We've seen that in the past, and that's the way it ultimately goes because the majority of the country ain't going to fall in line with that. But anyways, guys, if you like my video, please like and subscribe. Remember, I'm on Rumble now, too. Check me out. I got a bunch of stuff coming up. Like I said, I want to get off politics sometimes, but, man, it's hard to right now. There's just so much. I got a bunch of cool club stuff coming up. Just stick with me. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you soon, guys. This is Eddie from Studio 321. You guys have a good night. Thanks.